Alright guys, so for the second part, I want to talk a little bit more about the new technologies that are revolutionizing our world. If you're not aware, there is such a thing called blockchain technology. And what blockchain technology does is it allows us to track what one person transactions are, and then they share it with another block. And we got to create these blocks and combine them, creating a blockchain. All right, it's a sequence of blocks being forms of information that is permanently stored that can be attached together. All right, and so imagine there is, remember that main ledger that we discussed? That main ledger in which if you didn't know how to write, or if you didn't know how to read or do count numbers, then really this ledger here was the only copy. All right, but let me go ahead and actually, I'm gonna do it in the middle. I'm gonna do it in the middle, and then I'm gonna move on from here. You know, I ran out of space on my other whiteboard, so I needed to come over here to a bigger one. So we have these ledgers, all right? And these ledgers are able to write down transactions. So they're gonna have the speed of transaction, as well as the number of transactions that it can handle, and obviously how small of transactions, right? And this is where Bitcoin came in. Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has a slow speed of transaction, and it can only handle a small number of transactions at a time. And it requires a number of, or amount of energy needed for each. Now, this requires a ton of energy. In order for Bitcoin to run, which is one of the main environmental problems with Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin, even though it is the first of this brand new blockchain technology, which is why it's so hot, all right? It is hot because it is one of the first. It's like getting the first edition of anything, all right? It is hot right now because of that. Now, the thing is that every time that you go ahead and do a transaction, is that it's gonna take a miner to do quantum computing in order to solve an algorithm. And this quantum computer, whichever computer, can solve the algorithm first, gets to put a new block on the chain. And this new one, it's actually going to go ahead and have the transaction, the first, I believe it was the first 8 or 16 numbers, or 30, I'm not sure, the first amounts of numbers, it was all going to be, let's say that it was all zeros, well now it'll be all zeros, and then the last ones will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now it's been copied onto this. So now there's 2 ledgers that have the same transaction. Now this guarantees proof of work. Proof of work. But does that mean it's the best? I mean, honestly, I don't know. It is just the first. And so we got to put it in its own space. Because it is the first. It is very important that you understand this, because Bitcoin's position as the first technological ledger that can have proof of work is incredible, because this guarantees what is called decentralized money. It is not controlled by the governments. This is a Bitcoin. This is controlled by the creator of the ledger, which essentially Satoshi Nakamoto disappeared. So once he disappeared and took 1 million out of the 21 million available Bitcoin, understand that. He took 1 million out of the 21 million available Bitcoin, which means there's only 20 million left. How rare do you think, or how scarce do you think a Bitcoin is? Which is why you're seeing its price move. All right, it's really important that you understand this, because if you don't, oh my goodness, you are going to be headed for a rough 2021. But I hope things improve for you after this video. So what had to happen is that, well, there is what's called a central bank. And then this central bank doesn't want to be left out, all right? The central bank doesn't want to be left out of the brand new technology. You got to understand that. And so these central banks don't like Bitcoin too much because it is decentralized. The ledger, they don't control it. And this is a problem. Because you see, on the other side of the world, now I'm going to do this in red, China has created the digital yuan. I'm going to put this down here. China. DY. Bam. It is a centralized way of payments where they use gold, all right, as its backed up currency, which means that it's a 1-to-1 ratio, let's say. There's always going to be enough money in there because it's only met with the idea of having enough money in there. But China can now just go to the people. No banks is needed, but the banks now become fiat to digital yuan. Now, this is the way that banks are going to work now. They're going to take your fake fiat money, they're going to take it, and they're going to give you digital wealth. All right? In this manner, we can try to become, us like them, because there had to be a change. There had to be a change. You guys got to understand that this is all about crushing the handcuffs to the central banks. We're breaking away from them. You have to realize this. You just have to. But I do want you to understand the downside of being a decentralized network. You have no support, no customer service, and if you lose your money, it's lost. It's just that simple. All right? There is no safety. And you got to look at it as do I want to be by myself? Do I want to be self-autonomous? Or do I want to have some kind of dependency to the government where I could at least have support from the government legally, financially, and more than anything, that peace of mind that if anything happens, there's somebody there that can help you, right? That's really, really important. Most people right now across the world, we go ahead and leave our land to go to another place in search of wealth, opportunities to grow, and education. And so, think of it. When we come over here, let's say that you're going from China to the USA, you have to send money that you earn back over there. But every time that you send money, money goes into ATM, money gets approved, money gets leveraged, money gets made, profits get sent back to bank. Bank puts profit into reserve or into their vaults or into their account. Account passes to you, and Federal Reserve has to approve money going to you because they got to track it, remember? So if you wanted to do all of this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a few people that touch your pie. And this is why it's so complicated. Because if you really wanted to be able to go ahead, go to a new country to work, to send money back home, well, there should be a fast, safe, and efficient way to do it. There currently is not. And this is why the SWIFT payment network has to go down. This here is the SWIFT payment network. I want you to realize that we are simply being controlled by that which you know or don't know. And those that know the importance of this whole transition of wealth. Because in this transition of wealth, we can expect a few things. As we transition the wealth from the bankers to the people, the banks don't want to be left out. So we have to realize that these banks, I'm just going to put them here. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, Chase, this is Barclays, this is SBI in Japan. I mean, there are so many more banks that I can go on, but these are just off the top of my head. As you can see, there are different institutions which are all trying to go ahead and get involved with your money making, time, and transactions. So Bitcoin came in to disrupt everything. I'm telling you, disrupted everything. Nobody wanted to believe in it, but they knew what was coming. The ledger technology is unmatched. So what had to happen is there has to be a way for people to not only make safe transactions, but to also protect their intellectual property. Intellectual property, whatever ideas you may come up with, whatever contracts that you want to act upon, you know, if this, then that type of contracts. These here are called smart contracts. These smart contracts are another layer to this whole electronic virtual world that we're going to be entering, all right? Because you see, the ledger is what allows us to have safe transactions, and depending on whoever wrote the ledger, the speed of the ledger of transactions might be better. But the idea to protect your intellectual property, oh, that's major. It's major. And so I want to go ahead and now introduce what's called Ethereum, ETH, because ETH was created specifically for this, once again, as a decentralized method of protecting your intellectual property. Now, Ethereum has created what's called the Ethereum Virtual Machine. Now here, it allows individuals to create different tokens, right? It's a ledger, and it protects your IP. So what Ether has done, or Ethereum has done, is that it's created a way to not only record your transactions, they're a little bit faster than Bitcoin, but it also gives you the ability, amongst many other things that Ethereum does, to create your own tokens or coins through the Ethereum Virtual Machine. So what does this do? It allows companies to build on Ethereum their own CR20 tokens. CR20 tokens, if I'm not mistaken. So when you can come up with your own tokens that are meeting these specific regulations according to what the Ethereum developers have built, which, by the way, this was a 19-year-old that created this, Vitalik something, I forget his last name, but Vitalik, at 19, he created Ethereum. And so I'm telling you, this technology is not far from under grasp. It's just how deep do you want to go into it, and do you want to be on the cutting edge of technology and the world? Because the world is moving forward, all right? SBI is Japan's bank or group or central bank, if you want to think of it. And what's happening here is that in, I believe in 2025, or was it 2023, when they're going to be having the Olympic Games over there. All right, and so what they're looking to do out there is to take in a specific type of world reserve asset or currency as their only currency. All right, and we're going to talk about this because SBI has already spilled the beans. SBI spilled the beans about the truth of it all. Because you see, it doesn't matter what's going on here if the main thing that pays for everything isn't set yet. And so everything that runs both Bitcoin and Ethereum is dependent upon one thing. One thing. Well, as money as the US dollar, right? Because the US dollar keeps dropping in its worth. What we got to realize is that in order for a stable economy to happen, which is why the US has just approved stable coins, all right? Stable coins, which are pegged to a currency. All right, this is to say that, like, you know, we don't want the dollar to be devalued. So what we're going to do is we're now going to go ahead and regulate these stable coins to be a part of what can be accepted by banks as well, so that now individuals who have stable coins such as Tether or DAI can actually go ahead and get involved with this. Look, it's a long story, but Tether plays a big part in all of this. The USD Tether currently is playing a major role in the price of Bitcoin. Okay, now all of this will be revealed. These guys, US Tether is currently about to be sued for a lawsuit of $1.4 trillion for inflating the price of Bitcoin ridiculously, so that individuals who bought their Bitcoin at like 0.05 cents or $100, now that it's reached 35K, as far as I know, this morning I looked and it was still under 36K, so this is good. But you see, once they get it up to here, they can inflate their wealth as much as possible before making a transition into the new money, at which point this new money will bring them substantial returns on their investments. Substantial returns on their investments. I know that's why I'm doing it, but this is why I have to get educated on it. You see, the speed and intellectual protection are just two aspects of this very, very important technology. What we have to remove is the way that banks communicate with each other. We have to remove that, all right? And there had to be a ledger that the banks could use. Only the banks, remember that, it's only for the banks that they could use to send money back and forth. And this here is called the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger is the ledger that the banks are going to be using to track all transactions. It can make over 1,500 transactions per second. Bam! And it is safe. And it has partnered up with a company called Flare Network for your centralized IP protection. All right, so the central bank is already on top of this. They have partnered up with the XRP ledger to run their entire infrastructure. So imagine, this XRP is what connects the central banks to all the banks. And so because the XRP ledger is fast, it's safe, and it has a branch-off partnership with Flare Network, which gives individuals the ability to create land, farm. I mean, I'm talking about, there's so many things we got to talk about. This Flare Network is going to be the key for the expansion of XRP. All right. Now, you may have heard of XLM, the sister currency. Well, you see, the person that created the XRP ledger for the world, he took the same ledger and he began XLM. And so now the people, if this makes sense, this is the bank's ledger. This is the people's ledger. Overnight, I saw XLM go from 19 cents to 33 cents, while XRP sat at 0.22, 0.23. Most of what is going on right now is that the bankers want you, if you own any XRP, to get rid of it. If you get rid of this XRP becomes more available for the central banks and the bankers to buy at 23 cents. So imagine, if you buy at 23 cents, this asset that you just bought at 23 cents means you can get 4 for the dollar. It has to have some kind of value, right? Obviously, if the world bankers are going to use it for their ledgers, there has to be a reason. Well, the reason is, if you remember when I mentioned that when people from China go to the US, they work hard, they send money back home, even though it takes a lot of time. Do you imagine how much money is being sent back from immigrants abroad back home? This is a $7 trillion market. Every single year, over $7 trillion is sent back home. That's what XRP is going after. All right. Right now, Bitcoin is being talked about because it's going to surpass the $1 trillion mark. That's great. We're talking about 7 trillion. We're talking about MoneyGram. We're talking about Credit Union. And we're even talking about Amazon. All right, this morning I woke up and Amazon had just partnered up with these guys. So you tell me where this is going. You tell me what this is all about. Because the way I see it, it's really simple. All right? Yes, Bitcoin was the first token to have a ledger that could be traded within its own ledger, or I'm sorry, within its own blockchain. And that way it was decentralized. Great. The first. Then comes ETH, the second. Because they improved everything. Because you see, if it wasn't for the EVM, there was no way Flare could work. If it wasn't for the EVM, there was no way XRPL could work. So you understand that those people that own XRP are developing on top of this because they don't want the government to control their wealth. That's the game here, guys. That's the game here. You got to learn how to become decentralized. You need some BTC, you need some ETH, and you need some XRP. All right. If you do not have the three, then you are still under their control. My game plan is simple. All right. My game plan is super, super simple. I understand the price of this, and this will continue to rise because it is a decentralized asset. This means that the more that you own, the more wealth, untouchable wealth that you have. This is the new internet. This is the internet of creation of value. If it wasn't for this, we couldn't create new tokens. I'm currently coming up with a company where I'm going to make 100 million. Right there. Oh, that's too many. That's 100,000. Yep, I'm right. 100 of these coins, so that way I can put my intellectual property in it of all my training programs, my protocols, my supplements, my lessons. All of them will be put, all my intellectual property will go into a crypto coin. A crypto coin is a math-based coin which is encrypted to keep it safe. But you can see why, by being able to have some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, and some XRP, you are now acting as a bank. You are now being able to create, and you are now being able to be private. This is the whole point of the Great Reset, guys. That those individuals that don't know the entire proof or truth behind all of this will get stuck. Because here is proof of authority. Proof of authority. There's other coins that use proof of stake. Hey, look, I'm not saying which one's the best one for you because I don't know what you're personally doing. But if you don't understand everything that is going on or what protocols they operate under, right? Because all of this has to be built on something. Bitcoin started it. Ethereum virtual machine improved it, which is why Ethereum is actually such an important token. I personally had a lot of those earlier, and then I sold them off in order to go ahead and get more XRP, because as of the 19th, it will be delisted off of Coinbase and a lot of the US applications or exchanges because it's being sued by SEC. What does that mean, guys? Well, as you can see, the central banks are trying to implement XRPL, the ledger, into all of their new transfers, because XRPL is what's going to get rid of the SWIFT payment network. All right. So as XRPL gets rid of the SWIFT payment network, there has to be a legal court case precedent where, as you can see here, because we're being sued by the SEC, we are going to be able to go ahead and have regulatory legal wording of where XRP stands, whether it's a currency or a security. Now, it could go one of two ways, guys. If it is a currency, its value will take off incredibly, not only because it's now been delisted, but because it's solving a major problem here. A major problem. The cost of transaction is 0.00001 XRP. Imagine if you have one XRP, which is currently worth 23 cents, and you send money, it's pretty cheap, it's pretty fast, and that's great. Because individuals who receive it on their end can immediately withdraw from the fiat, or whatever fiat they may be using. But if the XRP is declared a security, which in this case, they're arguing that it is a security because they're saying that individuals who have bought XRP bought it thinking that they were buying a part or a stock of the company Ripple. I'm sorry, that's just not true. I bought XRP because I wanted to send money back and forth easier, and I learned that this was the most proficient way to do it. Not only was it cheap, but it got there fast. It could be broken down into millions. I mean, there's a lot of information there, guys. But the reason why it's at 23 cents right now is because everybody's getting rid of it due to the SEC suing them. But if you do the numbers, 7 trillion based upon the volume and all this different types of a number of coins that we have, its projected worth is $270. Mind you, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you any financial advice at all whatsoever. Do not trust me. I'm just a guy with a whiteboard. So if it is a $270 worth coin, but it's currently at 23 cents because those that have XRP in their possessions, they're being shaken out. They want you to get rid of those because if you notice, XRP is not moving while the entire rest of the altcoin markets and stable coins and everything is moving up. This guy is not. This guy is not. They want you to get rid of him. They want you to just hate on that guy. But trust me, I've been doing endless research trying to figure out what is going on. And the truth is that the Flare network did an airdrop release. They took a snapshot, basically a picture of all the accounts that were on the XRP ledger, right, to see who has XRP and how many. Because what Flare is going to do is Flare is going to replace XRP in the marketplaces. As XRP becomes delisted and it becomes either a currency or a security, it will have substantial worth at the banking level. This is not meant to be a retail coin. It's not a retail coin, guys. Remember that. This is not for people to people. This is for the bankers. They want to have that major wealth. I've heard, now this is crazy stuff, but I've heard that one coin can go as high as $10,000. I have thousands of these. Thousands. If that's the case, let's not even talk about it. But if it goes to 270, we're still talking millions, baby. And that's okay because I got friends who got billions of these coins. All right? I'm talking about these guys are whales. I've been talking to them on Twitter and it's nuts to see. It's nuts. But you know what? That's what proper, diligent research gets you. All right? Those of you who have balls of steel and are still holding on to this XRP at 23 cents when the entire market is going up, I respect you.
You have no idea how hard it's been for me to notice everybody going up and we stay down there. But that's okay, because some things are just about patience and research, all right? So if the Flare network takes that snapshot, which they did on the 12th of December, they got a chance to see how many XRP you possessed in that time. Because they're going to give you now, this is the best part, Flare has already worked with the IRS and the government for taxes. That's the thing here. XRP and Flare have to find a way to make their way into the government tax system so that way, yes, these two tokens here are decentralized. They can't tax them. They can't touch them. But when it comes to the Flare and the XRP, remember guys, the government always wants to find a way to get a little bit of the action. That's it. All right? Understand that. And if you understand that, then you can understand why Flare is so important to this whole transition. Everybody that had XRP is going to get Flare, but if you're going to get Flare, you're going to get taxed. Okay, it's free money. Get taxed. Keep your XRP as collateral. Remember, the banks are going to be needing a world reserve asset to be used as collateral. So imagine, if it goes up to $10,000 per coin, you have a collateral asset of at least $10,000. That's like saying you have a car just sitting in your garage. And in case anything happens, you can put that car up for collateral, or you could sell it and get that value and then use it. Well, that's what XRP is looking to become. All right, FXRP is what I mean by that. Because you see, Flare is coming up with their brand new financial network. Flare Finances is meant to help you be able to take those XRP that you've bought so far at 23 cents, if you have, or less, because I bought it 17 as well. I found out about this maybe about the last 6 months, so I've been going hard just trying to understand it. But you need to realize I got in at the last little bit of time left. I mean, I got in right before they got rid of XRP. So I've been able to buy at like 65 cents, but I've also bought at 17 cents. But I've also bought at 21 and 22 cents. You know, it's been a crazy ride for me, so I don't have millions of them. I got a few of them. But because XRP partnering up with Flare Finance will let you go ahead and grow it, why won't you? You see, if you sold your XRP bags, you won't be able to partner up with Flare Network and make big moves. You'll be screwed. You see, you cannot stake XLM. You cannot do that with those. You can only do it with XRP. XLM is going to be more for the retail payments, if I understood correctly. And if I'm wrong, please comment below. Share with me some new information that I could really use to clear up my world perspective and to help me speak with more confidence, but with better information and research. I got countless of notes on everything that I'm talking about just because I'm so obsessed with the idea that the world is changing right in front of our eyes. But as you can see, if these banks are all being connected through XRP, all settlements, all, what's that called? Derivatives are all going to be taken care of through XRP. All remittances are going to be taken care of through XRP. You gotta realize at the actual utility of the token, guys. That's the whole point here. So, as the digital yuan comes out, we will be able to have an opposing currency, which is going to be the XRP. All right, and that's what's going to help us maintain global economic positioning. Now, as more and more countries trade, right, because there's two ways to trade. It's what you have and it's what the banks want, right? It's really simple. You either have something or the bank's got it. And you're doing this dance around the two. And so I'm really excited to see where all of this turns out. As you may have paid attention to in the last few days, there have been war talks over there in the East China Sea. I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen. I do think that the U.S. and China have a lot of discussions to be made still. Just like Iran and the U.S., just like Russia and the U.S. there's so many things going on that I think sometimes people forget the big picture. The big picture is, how do you become your own boss? How do you become in charge of your livelihood? How do you protect your legacy? And how do you break the cycle so that those coming after you don't have to worry about financial issues or not being able to create enough wealth to eat? It's really important, guys. My family has suffered it. I have no doubt that maybe if you're watching this video, you've also learned of it or you've lived it. But all of this work here that you see is all meant to help you understand one thing. You right now, until the 19th on Coinbase, have the chance to buy XRP at 23 cents. Say that it goes to 270. That's 1,000x. Say that it goes to that 10,000. I'm not even going to talk about it. But the idea here is, it's all speculation until you do the research, and then it just becomes a patience and a waiting game. Once again, I don't think I'm the person to give you the utmost advice on how to move. This was created so that my family members and everybody that I care about could understand where I'm coming from, because there is so much information out there that could mislead you or confuse you. So I don't want you to be blinded by the SEC's court case, because you need to understand that the SEC has to make a legal precedent of the situation, so that way there could be legal proof that there was a change in the monetary policy of the United States. Now, please make sure you watch my following videos. I'm going to be heading over to my computer where I'll be showing you some articles to prove everything that we've just described. Once again, today's brief story was about how XRP, a crypto company, became its own central bank. I'm excited to talk to you more about this, guys. Make sure you check out the links below. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click the bell. Get all the notifications. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. If you need any help, make sure you click the links below so that you too can start getting paid in XLM to work out. All right? This is People to People's Ledger. I'm excited to be a part of this journey with you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.